Hello everyone, Christina here, and today we are going to be solving the system of equations by addition. All right, so addition it up. We have our two equations, which makes a system, right? A system is when they're basically just give you a list of two or more equations. So the accumulation of these is part of the system. Okay, so we have 5/6 plus 1/4 y equals 0, and then we have an 1/8 x minus a half y equals negative 43 over 120. And we have to solve this system by addition. So they gave us linear lines here because for both the x values and the y values, they are all raised to the first. That's a linear line, right? No exponents, x squares, y squareds. So let's just say one of the lines go this way and the other line goes this way. The solution, or what we're trying to solve for, is the points, right, or the coordinate pairs, or the ordered pairs that, that both include these lines. So X marks the spot. It's the point in which they have in common, or in which they interact, or they, interact, right, or cross paths. So by solving, we are solving for the x and y coordinates that they have in common. So x and y. Now we have to do this via addition, right? So the addition method means that we're going to add these two equations together. But when we do that, we want to eliminate one of our variables. Because at the end of the day, it's always x equals, y equals, right? It's never x plus y equals to solve for an equation. So we have to cancel out either the x's or the y's. And by the addition method, if you're going to do that, and if you want to cancel out the x's, you have to have a positive x for one of them and a negative x for the other equation. Because when you add a positive and a negative and they're the same number, right? If they're like 2 and 2, they're going to cancel. Or if you're going to try to get rid of the y's, one y has to be positive, the other y has to be negative, and they have to be the same number because then they'll cancel out. So just choose the easiest ones that you can make fit. So for the x's, this looks like a mess. We got 5/6 and a 1/8. I don't know off the top of my head how I can get an eighth into a 5/6 or a 5/6 into a 1/8 or what number they have in common. But if I just look over to my y's, I first notice that one is positive and one is negative. Beautiful. In the addition method, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. Now, I have a half and I have a fourth. Can I turn a half into a fourth? I think I can. What would I have to multiply by? Seems like I just have to turn the denominator into a 4. I'm not touching the numerator, so 1 times 1 will get me 1, so the numerator has to be 1. But then 2 times what will get me 4? Yeah, 2. So if I just times it by 1/2, I'll be good to go. But now, you just got to be fair, right? I have to multiply every piece by a half. And let's just say that this one was equation 1, and this is equation 2. We didn't do anything with equation 1, so I'm just going to leave that there. Equation 1, we have 5/6 x, and then we'll say plus, we'll do the 1/4 y, and then that equals 0. Now here comes the new equation 2. So we got 1/2 times 1/8. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 8 is 16, so that's 1/16x. And then now I have a negative. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. So there's the same numbers. And then for this one, 1 times a negative 43 is negative 43 over 2 times 120, that's 240. Okay. So here we go. We're going to add them together, which means that these values are going to cancel. So let's just color them in, and then we'll put a big X over them because they don't matter anymore. They're out of the game. Bada bing, bada boom. Goodbye. Add these up, and let's see what we get. Now, 5/6 plus a 16th. Instead of me trying to figure out, the most common number between 6 and 16, I would think 32, but 6 doesn't go into 32 evenly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Calci. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 5 divided by 6 plus 1 divided by 16. It's going to shoot me out some decimal, but we can turn that back into a fraction by saying math and then press frac. So that's going to put your number into a fraction. So 43 out of 48. So let's do that. 43 over 48, and that's x equals 0 minus this fraction is just negative 43 over 240. And now let's just solve for x. It's being multiplied by 43 over 48, so I can just multiply by the reciprocal, which is 48 over 43. And I got to do that on both sides. So I'm going to times by 48 on the top and 43 on the bottom. And this whole thing will cancel. You're just left with x equals. And now, beautifully on this side, 43 cancels out with 43. And now 48 and 240 definitely goes into whatever this is, right? Probably, if I had to guess, maybe 48, very close to 50. So 50 and 50, so maybe 5. Let's see, maybe 4. 240 divided by 48. Yeah, 5. So x equals 5. All right, we got half of the piece of the puzzle. We know the one coordinate. We know that the x is going to be a 5. Let's move this over. And the addition part is done. So the addition method is all done. We know that this now is going to be a 5. Now, since we have that the x value is 5, go back and use whichever formula you want. It does not matter. Just pick the one that's easier for you. I guess I don't want to, I don't want to do this 43 over 120 again. So maybe I'll just choose equation 1. So equation 1 was 5 over 6x plus 1/4 y, and this equals 0. So they told me, we just found out that x was 5, so I'm going to plug in a 5 value for the x. So it's going to be 5 over 6 times that plus 1/4 y equals 0. I'm going to plug in the 5 for where the x was, and now let's just do some math. 25 over 6 equals, no, just kidding, plus 1/4 y equals 0. Let's subtract 25 over 6 on both sides. Okay, this gets bye-bye. So now we are down to, let's maybe move this up a little bit. Okay, and now we have 1/4 y equals negative 25 over 6. So we'll kind of do the same thing as what we did before. So we can multiply, if it's 1 over 4, we can multiply by 4. This will cancel out because it's 4 over 1. And then just multiply this by 4, right, which is 4 over 1. So y equals, let's see here. The 4 and the 6 can simplify. They both have 2 in common. So this will have a 2 and this will have a 3. 25 times 2 is 50. So negative 50. Let's make that red. Negative 50 over 3. Let's put that in here. And I believe this looks good, right? 25 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25 over 6 minus. Yeah, right? Why wouldn't that work? So we have our solution. Now, if you want, because maybe for this one, negative 50 over 3, you might say, that's a weird number. So what we can do is kind of just check, right? The y, which we just found out, let's just put that in, was negative 50 over 3. So negative 50 over 3. Now, let's see. By doing the check, which means that just take any one, maybe I'll take the first one, and say 5 over 6 times by whatever the x value was, 5, plus 1/4, and times it by the y value, which we said was negative 50 over 3. Let's see what this equals. Does it equal 0? Yay! So we know that we did it right. So you can do your little checks. And there you go. That's the answer. What'd you think? I hope this helped. Thank you so much for viewing the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video. Tell your friends, tell your classmates. We also have physics and chem videos on the channel. So if you guys are in that subject, or you have friends or classmates that are in there, we can help them out as well. Thank you so much for that. Also, I would like to give a huge shout out to Maricela. Thank you so much for being a member to the channel. Your support means a lot to my brother and me, and we're thrilled to have you be a part of this amazing community. Memberships are open on the channel, and if you want to become a member, just click that join button, which can be found below on any video if you're watching on your desktop, or it can be found on the overall channel page too. For all of you that want your name shown in the video, don't forget to choose the gold tier or higher. Thank you so much for considering, and have a great day. Talk to you in the next lesson. Bye-bye!